Hello everybody, welcome back to Road to Master. Hope you're all having an amazing day. We're starting off, we have the white pieces against an 1844 from the United States. And yes, to get things out the way, to speak of the elephant in the room, I am back below 1800. There is a long story behind this. So, basically yesterday's episode, by the way, we have a 2 nights Caro-Kann. Please watch the video on that if you haven't seen it already. Super fun opening. Definitely worth checking out. I was recording yesterday's video, the Puzzle Rush, but I forgot it was actually Sunday. So I recorded a regular episode. It was quite a cool video. I think I had a nice position. I ended up mouse slipping. You'll never see that because I then realised it was Sunday, went to record a Puzzle Rush. That's an interesting move. Anyway, I went to record the Puzzle Rush, did an okay job, not the best, decided to do it again, got the one you saw yesterday, still not the best. I felt I could do better, so I did one more. So this is like 4 videos I recorded yesterday at that point. And I got like at 47, which is really good, my second highest I think. So I was super happy with that, but I forgot to hit record and I was devastated. So you got the okay-ish Puzzle Rush yesterday. So yeah, that's that basically, why we're under 1800 again. Never mind though, never mind, we keep on moving. Bishop to f5, I don't think I've actually seen this before. I feel like we should have a trick here. What that trick is, I can't tell you. Unfortunately, it's probably going to be like a knight back. The problem is the c2 pawn here, so maybe it's a d3. The problem I have with that is you're blocking in your light square bishop, and as we know from the 2 nights Caro-Kann, the bishop wants to be on c4 to hit this f7 pawn. So what do we do about this predicament we're in? What do we do? We could go knight g5, however, a very swift h6 stops any of ideas. We could probably just trade off the knight, is a possibility, and then play like a swift d4, c3. I think that's probably the way to go here. It's not ideal. In the 2 knights, you very much do want to have the pieces still on the board. It's a piece heavy opening, quite tactical, and you can't have tactics without pieces really. So it makes sense that you would want to keep everything on the board. They play an e6, which is very strange. I'm not a huge fan of that. I feel like we could trap their light squared bishop, to be honest. I feel like a swift knight h4 would win the bishop, significantly mess up their pawn structure, leaving us with a dark squared bishop. Our pawn is stuck on a dark square here, which wouldn't be ideal. But then again, they're also going to have a pretty hard time sort of developing with this pawn here. And the square on c6, I feel like we should have a pretty good game. They would have to take inwards actually because we are threatening queen takes check. So if they take inwards, they still have this blockade on f5. A swift f4 could benefit them. And then this is actually a decently strong bishop. So, you know, it's an interesting move, is knight h4. Definitely a candidate. That being said, I don't know what else to actually play. The problem is we do hang this pawn after knight h4. But is that worth... actually, that just wins a piece, so we're not actually hanging it because of the pin. So they could try take this pawn. But it's not going to work out quite so well for them because we have this pin on the king. I think we've got to do that right. That's something the computer would play. And then we have the bishop pair as well. So the bishop pair would compensate for the holes that we're making. So yeah, they go back. I think we just take here. We could actually ignore it for a turn or two and just play like a c3. Shore up our defenses. It's not going anywhere, and one thing I've been trying to work on is you don't have to take things immediately, you know. There's no rush a lot of the time. I think a c3 could serve as well. A bishop e3, a long castles could work. I just don't want them to get their pawn structure sorted out too quickly, you know. Too quickly. So maybe even an f4 is interesting in this position. An f4 could actually be really cool, with the idea of f5, trapping the bishop completely. They would have to make some play to stop that. I don't even know what they would do. Maybe like a queen there. At which point takes, pawn takes. They have quite a committed kingside. They have quite a committed kingside. I think f4 is a cool looking move. I think it's worth having a gander. Then again, f5. But after f5, like, we could potentially just leave the bishop stranded. After f5, the queen's covering that quite nicely. We drop the knight back and just sit on e5. To be honest, sit on e5. If the queen takes now, actually that's a good point. The queen can take the pawn. The queen can take the pawn, so I don't think this idea quite works just yet. That being said, I still think it's wise to leave this bishop as is. I think probably just a c3. I think probably just a c3. There's no rush to snap this off. If they play an f5, we're gonna have to take it at that point. Or we could do like a g3, although it depends what diagonal we want our light squared bishop on. Do we want it on this diagonal, or do we want it on this diagonal? You know, I think it's probably better on the a2 to g8 diagonal, simply because that's where the king's likely going to be. I don't think they would castle queenside. It's a possibility for sure, but I think a general like good idea is that the side with the queenside majority has the better endgame, because that's going to be what they can push without fear of weakening their king. So I think it would be a lot easier for us to attack them than for them to attack us if they castled queenside. So what's now? What now? I don't know what they're doing. Probably like a knight d7. Knight d7, looking for an e5 break is an idea for sure. We need to develop this light squared bishop. Definitely need to do that. I don't know if like a queen f3 or a takes then queen e4 is an idea. Bishop c4. Yeah, I'm not quite certain where this queen's going at the minute. I think that's yet to be discovered. We will work it out though very shortly. We need a move from them though. So yeah, apologies if yesterday's Puzzle Rush wasn't the most enthusiastic. I was, to be honest, a bit frustrated that I lost the 1800 on a game that you'll never see, and B, had to record 3 videos as well, 4 videos. It wasn't ideal. It was not ideal at all. But hopefully we're back on the enthusiasm today. I've got a lesson pretty much straight after recording this and uploading this. I've got a lesson which I'm really looking forward to. I think I said yesterday we're covering the more static stuff, the more slow pawn maneuver type things, which I'm really looking forward to. It's out of my comfort zone completely, but that's what makes good sports people. You know, if you're always in your comfort zone, you're never going to improve as well as you could be. And then we've got a little league meeting tonight. Will be interesting, I guess. But yeah, rushing around tonight. So hopefully that doesn't get in the way of us playing a good game today. It seems to be going off to a decent start. You know, we've got one of my favourite openings. A little twist on it, which is cool. Always good to see a little twist. What I want to start doing as well, and something I would definitely recommend you guys doing if you want to improve your openings, And you find a lot of the time the things you read online don't get played over the board. People always play these weird moves like this bishop f5 move, which is actually a theme in the Caro 2 knights, but not with this knight f6 move first. I know Lichess does studies. I don't know about chess.com whether they do studies or not, but make a Lichess study and put down, every time you see a weird move, write that down in the study, and then you'll have a complete list of all the moves you've seen people actually play. So you'll be able to study from that rather than study from Grandmaster Theory, which sometimes never works, So they've played a Queen c7, and that's quite a common idea. Looking for the bishop on d6. Which means the bishop's not likely going to be going there. And I think a swift f4 here could be in order now. The queen's no longer threatening d4. f4 looks like it's doing the world, to be honest. Yeah, especially if they're wanting to commit to this d6. Opening up f5 isn't as beneficial without the bishop being fianchettoed. It's still opening dark squares, which is going to be good for them. But I think f4's a pretty cool looking move. We do have problems with our dark squared bishop, though. It's only got a few squares. So that's something we might have to work on. I'm not sure how we would actually do that if they play f5. We're sort of dooming ourselves. But a g3, we would have to make some play on the queen side, which would be interesting. And we get a really nice fianchetto bishop that way. So it's an idea. It's an idea. Yeah. The alternative is they play a h6, at which point we just take. And then we take this with check. So we're all good on that department. I would quite like my bishop on f4. It's not really doing out there, to be honest. Especially if the bishop comes on d6, we would have to get like our queen on e3 to support it, with even a g3 as well. Not ideal. I'm still bamboozled about where my queen's going, because we can't develop this bishop until we develop the queen. So that's a bit of a problem. I think maybe a queen on... I don't even know. Then again, if we manage to play an f4, knight f3, knight e5 is looking super tasty, with takes on f takes, and then the bishop's free, then the rook comes and castles, and it's looking super nice. So I think f4 is the way to go here. It's a counterintuitive move, I think, but in the long run, I think it's going to benefit us. And they go ahead and do that. And now we're going to remaneuver our knight. We've locked in their light squared bishop to a life of misery, I'm inclined to say. We have a really strong knight here. There's opportunities of f6, but we can bounce around all over the place. And a b4, b3, bishop a3, a4, even to get the rook covering the bishop is going to fix our dark square bishop problem. So I think I'm pretty okay with this. Pretty okay. If they play f6 as well, it's important to note that this e6 square is a really nasty backwards pawn. So they've gone and done that. Is knight g5 an idea? Is h4 an idea? h4 is a wild move, but it's got threats. It's going to cause a h6, which wouldn't be nice for them. A h5 would be also not nice for them. Massive target there. Let's go for it, I think. Let's go for it. h4 is a common move in the Caro-Kann as well. The two knights. In all of the Caro-Kann lines, especially like the advanced ones, the more locked up ones, h5 is quite a... h4, sorry, is a common idea. Now it's definitely looking like they're castling queenside. So a swift a4 could work in our favour. And then the fianchetto bishop's probably going to be quite nice as well. So we're locking things up a bit. It's interesting, but I think eventually our pieces will be well placed versus their sort of disgruntled pawn structure. You know, they go there first. Okay. Yeah, that's something I didn't account for. You can just go bishop there. That's fine though. Worst case, you trade off and free up my light squared bishop. So I think maybe even an a4 here could work. Yeah, let's go a4. We look for a b3 and a bishop a3. I think they possibly could trade here. I'm not too upset if they do. We do have to worry about this knight coming in though, which could be a bit of a pain. Could be a bit of a pain. Yeah, I think h4 was the wrong move. I think h4 was the wrong move. We probably just needed to commit to a side with the knight, somewhere with the knight. Even if it's just there and takes, even queen takes could work. Forcing that off. Yeah, I think now we're going to have to play g3, unfortunately. Unfortunately. Not ideal. Just to cover this, I don't think there's any other good way of covering it. The rooks now have a very clear target, which again isn't ideal, but queen f2. We get the bishop in and we start launching our pawns. I think is the only way to play this, really. And we've gotten ourselves into a bit of a pickle here. Yeah, that's a good move, and it's been coming for a while, I think. Not fun. Not fun. Not fun. Okay, probably a queen d3. Unpin this knight and get the knight onto e5. We're also covering g3 with a little x-ray sort of thing. Yeah, we're on the back foot here, definitely. Definitely on the back foot. We've got glaring weaknesses, I think, especially this g3 pawn. This e4 is a real outpost for them. Would have to trade off our light squared bishop. I think, in hindsight, probably trading off the bishop when we had the chance. H4's a massive, what's the word, concession, I guess. Yeah, I think knight e5 is the way to go. We're covering this. We can get the rook in. Yeah, we get the knight to c6 potentially. Trade off with check. Although bishop takes f. Actually, no, because the bishop is still covering that. We get the bishop, trade off this knight. But it's still playable. It's still definitely playable, you know. Still definitely playable. And it could easily switch around. If we manage to fix our problems, it could easily switch around. Because they're not permanent problems. It's just things we have to care about, basically. You know, it's nothing that's going to be the end of the game. I think long castles here is a cool move for them. There we go. Yeah. Predictions, you know, I'm a fortune teller at heart. I think here, trading off the knights a cool looking idea. We take inwards, so we're not under any discovered check sorts of activities. We trade off this knight. The queen's still covering this pawn. F takes E is the way to go. If they play an f6, I think we still take this knight. Takes. And then these are like double isolated pawns, which I'm quite happy with. We do have to be worried about rook to d1, though, if we ever have to open up that way. So that is something to really be aware of. We also potentially have a check on h3 is interesting. We still can castle either way, you know. So I think even the long castles could work for us. We had an example in my last coaching session where I was playing a game online and he was sort of watching and taking notes. And it was my usual sort of King's Indian attack where I castle kingside and launch everything. And I castled kingside, and he mentioned that castling queenside is also an option as well. Because it's safer, you know. Like, it depends whose attack's faster. If your opponent's attack is faster, you don't want to castle into their attack. It's common sense, but it's hard to sort of grasp that when you're gunning for an attack, you know. So it's more about what the position demands. So I think here we have to take the bishop first because they have threats of maybe like takes with a discovered attack. So I think, we have to take their bishop first, unfortunately. Queen takes is a very interesting move. Yeah. Unfortunately, though, bishop f4 just works. Just works, I think. Bishop f4. Queen there is actually really interesting. I really want to play c4 there, but I think bishop takes is the way to go. Queen sits there. Queen takes. You know, if pawn takes, that's fine. We can just sort of chill a bit. We could also do just bishop takes straight away. We're down a pawn. That's fine. We might as well develop a piece while we're at it. Might as well. I really want to play c4, but that doesn't work, unfortunately, because queen can just take. Which is annoying. And here, maybe castles is actually the way to go. We can't physically long castle because of this bishop that we should have traded off when we had the chance. But, you know, you live and you learn. You live and you learn. We'll try our gosh damn best, you know. We could even throw in like an e5, a bishop e5. Although f6 is a really interesting move because bishop takes, pawn takes still threatens the queen. I did that completely wrong. f6, bishop takes, pawn takes, still hits the queen, so we can't take f6. Here, I think we've got opposite coloured bishops guaranteed, so we're happy going down a pawn. You know, there have been a lot worse situations, but I think we are relatively happy here. And there's no more d1 threats because we've developed our dark squared bishop as well. So we're happy for the centre to sort of open up a bit. If we can get the queens off the board, that is, because otherwise things get a bit dicey. Indeed, bit dicey. They do have to take back. You know, if it's with the queen, I think it would be wrong to take back with the queen. They would have to take back with the pawn, at which point probably like a queen e3, f5, bishop e5 seems to work. And then we castle, start adding some pressure, maybe even like a rook f4. Maybe even start prodding their king a bit, see what happens. But they are thinking that, I think they're thinking whether to take with the queen or not. I think that's the only thing they can calculate here. I don't think there's any cheeky tactics or don't think there is. But yeah, you know, anything can happen. You know, it's very easy to say opposite coloured bishops. You know, draw, it's drawn, it's dead drawn, computer draw, theoretical draw, all that stuff. But you know, at the end of the day, we're not computers. You know, lowly 1800s, 1700s. You know, we make lots and lots of mistakes, as I'm sure you know from watching my videos. So many mistakes. even in theoretical endgames, you know, that everyone should know, tons of mistakes can easily occur. I think queen e3 is the way to go. Stay off the light squares. Queen c4 is an interesting idea. Not c4, b3 actually, I meant. b3 is a really interesting idea. Hitting both of these pawns, I think probably then a queen f2, followed by a castles, potentially. Or just a queen c2 is an option. But then we're not. It's actually an option, to be fair, c2. In fact, I like c2. Yeah, queen c2 I think is the way to go. We're still threatening some sorts of attack activity, you know. So yeah, I think that's probably the better way to do it. f6 I think here is their best move. Looking for the e5 break, bishop back, e5 castles maybe even. Pawn takes, bishop takes. And if they try for a c5, I think that's probably just good for us. It's cracking open their king a bit. So we do need to be careful of these pawns. They can move quite quickly, especially with the bishop here, which we should have taken from the start again. But, you know, if they open their king, anything can happen. Anything can happen. Yeah. Now is it a castles here, you reckon? Castles takes comes with check, which is a bit annoying. I think castles, right? I think castles. We can't castle queenside, unfortunately. We can get refuge on h2. Bishop e3. Yeah, we drop the bishop back to e3. And even an f5 is really interesting here. Obviously, I would take... but then, like, the pressure you get on the king side is pretty rough, you know. Threatening to take. We could have even taken there. Force a double up of the pawns. I really want my bishop on f4 though, so I want them to take really. Yeah, I think king h2 is the way to go. Just looking after this pawn a wee bit, you know. Nothing crazy defensive wise. Just trying to be solid. Stick everything on dark squares that we possibly can. Is c4 an option? It is potentially. Thing is, we have a very solid pawn structure here. They can mess it up a bit, but nothing crazy. And I don't think we want to risk sticking things on light squares with this annoying bishop that we should have taken from the start. I will keep saying that because I know it's true. And you know, it's there's options. There's lots of options. There's lots of options. I think they're. Ooh, whoa. What? Now I think I'm going to go ahead and take this. Rook f2. Take this with the little idea of queen takes bishop f4, pinning there. We get a rook on f2. We get the rook on d2. Try trade off the queens and a set of the rooks. I think we're probably golden at that point. Double up these pawns. There's pressure on f6. We could have even taken f6 there, but I think this is just as fine. And we even have rook f5 here is an option. It's a crazy option, but it's an option. Hitting the bishop, hitting e5, rook takes e5, bishop f4, wins the queen. That would be crazy. That would be very, very crazy. Phew. Yeah, let's go for that, surely. We gotta, right? We gotta. Rook takes e5. Rook takes e5 is the idea. Cheeky little tactic there. I'm not sure why they moved the king onto b8 at all. Zero clue. Zero clue. Queen d3, rook c2, I believe, is fine. Queen takes, rook d2, d3, bishop c1. These pawns are still doubled. I'm still threatening the bishop, threatening his take. I think we're all jolly. As Santa Claus says, we're all jolly. I don't know why I've come up with that of all things, but yeah, we're rolling with it. We're rocking with it. We are definitely rocking with it. And if this guy doesn't have a plan, you know, it could very easily be a case of over pushing and over committing. They've gone there, and we have to go with rook takes e5, right? We have to with queen takes e4, and then potentially where the one's pushing. So rook takes e5 is just nice. Yeah, they go with that. I think here we could even take. It's risky though. Take rook takes bishop f4, super cool, with the idea of rook e8 mate. Discovered attack, discovered double attack is actually mate. Oh, we could even sack the queen. No, it comes with check though. Queen takes, pawn takes, bishop f4. The problem I'm having is that the bishop's covering the promotion square, so we probably just want to go. Actually, yeah, I really wish that wasn't check. I would love to just play that. Oh, it's so nice. We could go like queen c1, I guess, is a move. Actually, no, because queen e2 and then... Actually, no, but we take... Ooh, there's some interesting tactics here. They've definitely spiced things up a bit. Is bishop a7 a move at all? I don't think so, right? King takes check. I don't think so. It can't be. King goes back. Surely not. Queen takes. Rook takes. So they would have to do pawn takes just so they're keeping pressure on this d1 square. Queen takes, pawn takes. Bishop f5. No, because the rook wouldn't have come down, so it wouldn't be actually mate. That's an interesting... Did they do this on purpose? Is that the whole idea? They've done this as a trap? It's an interesting trap, to say the least. Oh, we can actually do this though. Pawn takes, bishop there, push. We can just go down, check, takes. Yeah, We can. We can actually do it. That's wild. With this discovered check, it's brutal. Yeah, so they've gone for that. That's quite smart with them. Then we just stick on e2. Stick the bishop on d2. Stop the pawn promoting. We keep control of these two squares. These are the key squares they need. We just sit the rooks down. Happy. King goes on f1. And we just chill. I think. 40 seconds. That was cutting it close. You know, I spent the whole time thinking of that. And they go king a8 for some reason. Are they worried just about the discovered? If so, why go king b8 in the first place? I don't really know. Are we potentially winning this pawn? I don't think so, but we're definitely holding it for the foreseeable. We want to stop this c pawn coming in. Because that gets a bit dicey bit quickly, you know. But it should still be fine, I think. Should still be fine. King g2 is our next move. Or rook f1, depending. Bishop checks a thing they can do, I guess. Not really getting them anywhere. Anytime quickly. We trade off a set of the rooks. We almost guaranteed a draw here. We just can't let them be doubling up. That's the main issue. We can't be letting them double up. I don't think I would sack the exchange here. I don't think it's worth it. Potentially, if I could get my rooks on the 7th, we have some counterattack. Because of this c6 pawn is in the way of the bishop. But it's not likely to happen, I think. It's not likely to happen. We could even go f2 here. Is an interesting idea after check. Simply because this discovered check isn't doing anything at all. Everything's on a light square. And the only thing that... everything's on a dark square, sorry. And the only thing that isn't is covered by the rook. So we could potentially do that. That's an interesting idea. Completely unnecessary, I think. Completely unnecessary. Yeah, everything's chilling here. This is a very, very interesting tactic with bishop to h3. I'm not falling for that one, my friend. No siree. No siree. Not doing that. No, thank you. I think rook e3 stops any check. Which is good. We still can't let them double up. So a king g1 would be nice. If they go here, that's really annoying, actually. Really annoying. I think probably rook e1. Double up. Ooh, they go to swap off. I'm happy with that. I'm very happy with that. We just double up and we're chilling. You know, once again, we are chilling. That's fine, I guess. That's fine. We trade off a set of the rooks. Stick the bishop somewhere. Stick the bishop somewhere. And we just live like this. We can offer them a draw here. I'll do that next move. We'll offer the draw. See what they say. Debating where to go here. I think it's probably best if we go g2 just to hold on to this pawn. I don't think there's any check tactics or anything. As long as we cover the f2 pawn square, we should be pretty okay here. Pretty okay indeed. We can throw in even a check here. Although it's interesting rook takes, actually. Rook takes, pawn takes, d2 wins the game. Ha! d2's crazy. I like it. Oh. let's make some frivolous moves. We might as well. We'll play a5. Yeah, I think we're still just chilling. It's not a comfortable chilling, you know. There is still stuff. Don't get me wrong, but it's going to be increased. They've just given us a pawn. For what reason? I would ask. Why? Because they can, I guess. Just try to separate us. Bishop c1's a cool move. Looking for bishop a3 with the skewer. Even if the king comes down, bishop a3 is still on because of c6. That's an interesting move. Yeah, bishop back to d2. We'll go rook b1 in front of this and this pawn, and to kick away the king a bit. There's no need for the rook to stay on e1. It was only there, so we traded off. We've got rook b4 check. And we could even start advancing these pawns if we wanted to risk it a bit. We've got less of a fortress at that point, so it's not ideal. But we will give it a go. We'll throw in a check here. And just drop straight back as well. Get the king onto c4. Look for this b4 check with the idea of trading off the rooks. And I think we should be drawing around now. Hopefully, I think we've sort of proven that we can hold it. Obviously, you know, it's not ideal, but luckily this king, especially with the rook on b1, can't come anywhere near. So we're just going to check. We can drop straight back as well. Depends where the king goes, I guess. We could even throw in a temporary check if we need to. We will. Why not? Why not? I think is the word. We get the rook back to b1 first, just so the rook can't go to f1. Drop the bishop back, and we're just chilling. Like we said, we could have even thrown in another check, but we just don't have to. We just don't have to. Oh, that's tempting. It's tempting. Very, very tempting. I'm not doing it because that's so dubious. So dubious. With the rook on f1, rook on d1, it's surely not worth it. Surely not worth it. Bishop comes back to d2. There's nothing. Unless they play like a b6 or something with the rook coming in. Whew. That's an option, I guess. We keep shuffling. We keep shuffling. I think b6 is their only opportunity, really. Depends how close their king can get, but like we said, it can't really get close. It can't go to any of these squares. They're throwing a check. Now the check, we just go... There, we just go to g1. We're not risking anything. The rook comes in, we go to f2. The rook comes back, we go back to g1. The bishop's still blocking out the king from anything, from entering. The rook's still doing its job. Yeah, we just go back. You can do whatever you want. It's not working. I'm still not falling for this f1 trap. Not going to happen. No siree. And maybe we can think about winning this pawn with the bishop gone. Which would make things a lot simpler. There we go, yeah. We keep shuffling, we keep shuffling. Lucky we have this bishop a2, e3. It's a nice little shuffle. We drop back again, you know, look for checks. I think there could even be a 50 move repetition over here sometime. I don't think anything's happening anytime soon. Yeah, straight back to g1. Probably more likely to be a repetition rather than anything. But I will take a repetition. Now then, my friend. Have you made a boo-boo? Check. Wins the pawn. Are we the ones pushing for the win now? Oh, you should have taken the draw while you can. You should have taken the draw while you can. It's still drawn. Don't get me wrong. It is still drawn. But it is a lot more comfortable from this point on. A lot more comfortable. We could even throw in this bishop f4 check as well. Would be quite nice. Bishop f4, rook takes, pawn takes. Yeah. Just to get the king even further away. Get this nice little outpost on f4. And this is what happens, you know, you push the position. I said, like, they could very easily overcommit here. And mess things up. It's hard to mess things up, especially in an opposite colored bishop endgame. But sometimes you gotta accept the draw. You've got to take the draw, take the highs and the lows of the position and live with it. We can go f2 here. There's no reason we can't. The bishop's not defending anything. I know it's defending the pawn, but it's more like the pawn's defending it. Because there is nothing that can take this pawn other than the rook. So, that's a cool move, actually. Really annoying. No, because we have rook d4 to cover. That's really nice. Nice little tactic. They can try. They will lose their rook, though. Very, very quickly. Very, very quickly. Yep. Now, have we overcommitted as well? I think we could have done. I think we potentially could have done. It's fine though. We could potentially even go for some sort of mate here. I don't think that's really happening, but it's an idea. We'll go b4. Rook takes bishop c7. And just hold these the best we can. Hit the rook. They could come in. Rook e5. I'll give us a check, I guess. The bishop's still covering this pawn. We get the king over as fast as we possibly can. As fast as we possibly can. We made a slight boo-boo losing that pawn. We got a bit overconfident. Didn't fully examine the extent of that pin. My bad. I mean, it can only be my bad, really. That's the way the game is. You're the one responsible for your own mistakes. We will keep the bishop there, and now they've moved their rook away from these pawns, so I'm a bit happier. And I think this is probably still drawn. The passer bugs me a bit. It does. Well, not if they keep doing things like that. It's an interesting idea. It's an interesting idea. Unfortunately, I don't think it quite works. Unfortunately, we have to go back and just live with the consequences of that. Of a5. Super instructive is this endgame. Yeah, and now we go rook c4. Rook c4 takes, rook takes, check takes. Yeah, we're threatening the bishop, and we can just stay here with the rook on this line. We can just stay. Ah, no, gosh, we can't do that because of the pin. Oh, this guy's tricky. Well played. Well played. That's fine. I mean, it's not fine, but it could potentially be fine. Oh. Yeah, that's a good move also. Trading off. Yeah, this is resignable. Unfortunate. Really unfortunate. If they sat the rook here, that's really well played. Yeah. Ooh. Nasty stuff. Real nasty stuff. We will try our best. We will let them mate us. That's well played though. Wow. Really well done. Really well done, my friend. Really well played. That's unfortunate. We just hung that pawn there. Just hung that pawn, and they did exactly the same. You know. So it shows you how easy these quote unquote drawn endgames are to lose, to mess up. You know. It can happen to anyone, and it's simple stuff. Especially when there's still pawns on the board, anything can happen. Absolutely anything can happen. Really enjoyable game though. Severely enjoyed that. I don't think severely is the right word. That sounds like it's more negative, but I really did enjoy that. 80.6 versus 85.3% accuracy. And again, like, it was when I got that extra pawn, I wanted to overcommit, overpush. Let's see this bishop move. We were right to take the knight there. Apparently d3 is better, but d4 is just as good. And again, we were right not to take the bishop, but apparently bishop e3 is better. I guess it's just development, followed by a long castles potentially. Okay, sure. And then f4 was a mistake. We're a pawn up here. Well, not a pawn up. It's 1.0 for white here. And apparently g3 is the idea with the fianchetto. If it will show me, it doesn't show me the rest of it. f5 yet. Drop the knight back, and then we have this silly little h4, and this is minus 1.6 for black, so we knew it straight away how bad that was. And apparently g3 is still the way, which I think I said as well. Again, a5 isn't, a4 is not ideal either. This is minus 2. We keep playing, we keep shuffling. We made a few mistakes. Apparently knight e5 is a mistake. I thought that was quite good. It wanted g4 here, which is wild. Oh, because, yeah, that's quite clever, actually. Pawn takes, they lose the knight. Bishop takes, knight takes, pawn takes, they lose the knight as well. That's quite clever stuff. We trade off. Yeah. And then the bishop f4 was the idea. And apparently just castles here. I guess because the knight's pinned, you can get a rook maybe on e1 as well, and slow that down. Queen e3 was the better move rather than c2. Castles, and again, it just wants us to take, which we eventually managed to do. That's a blunder. So this is completely winning. This is 2.6, and this is where it goes to a draw, because apparently you just take the pawn. We did not. We went to f5 with this whole takes idea. Whoa, and it wants you to take bishop f4, queen takes f4, pawn take, and it's a rook and a bishop. Wow, for a queen and a pawn. That's wild, and it's still claiming you're better. I can see it, but wow. Whew. Wow. Anyway, we decided to trade the queens, which wasn't ideal, but this is still drawn, and we knew at this point we were drawing, especially after this move. Trading off, all shuffling. We shuffle, although there was a slip up here. Apparently, b4 is the wrong move. And you play h5 of all things, which is wild. Absolutely wild. And I'm guessing bishop takes, you just get your rook out and trap the king, I guess, is the idea. It doesn't look right, does that? No way. Anyway, it goes back to being drawnish. We made this c1 idea, which turns out didn't work. We just went right back. But black didn't really take advantage of it. Not that I know how to take advantage of it. And once we get this rook on b1, we're sorted here. We are sorted here. It can show whatever 1.2 evaluation it wants, but it's dead drawn. They slip up and give us the pawn. Still drawn. And then what's the blunder here? This is still all drawn. This is it. Yeah, wow. You go to d4, king d4. Brutal stuff. King d4. I wouldn't have guessed that going further away from the pawns is the best move. Wild stuff. A5, and the rook goes back to b1. King b3, you're blocking the rook going back. Apparently, though, this is still drawn. And that's the mistake we made going after the bishop. Yeah, this is drawn. You go bishop to d2, really, and sacrifice this pawn. King b2. Wow, crazy. It was, yeah, that was a silly one. It was just a moment of, I don't know, stupidness, I guess. But yeah, this is they did a great job sacking the rook as well. Yeah, well played. Yeah, all I can say. Thank you all for watching. I hope you all enjoyed. Super instructive endgame. Shows you don't know what you're talking about unless you can do it. Yeah, thank you all for watching. I hope you all enjoyed. Please like if you liked. Please subscribe if you really liked. And I'll catch you guys all tomorrow. Bye-bye.